What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Miguel here. Today we're taking a look at a brand new Seiko, the SSK059, and I already know this watch is going to stir up some conversation because, let's be honest, this is basically Seiko's answer to the Rolex Explorer 2 Polar for a fraction of the cost. And before anyone gets offended, no, this is not replacing a Rolex Explorer 2. I own a Polar Explorer and I absolutely love that watch. It's honestly one of the best under the radar Rolex sports watches you can buy under that $10,000 mark. It wears beautifully, is versatile, and the history behind it is incredible. But here's the thing, not everyone wants to spend thousands of dollars on the GMT watch. A lot of people just want the functionality, the sporty look, the wide dial aesthetic, and something reliable that they can actually wear daily without stressing over scratches or costs. And this is exactly where Seiko dominates the market. For around $450, the SSK059 delivers a really nice, compelling package. Also, a huge shout out to my friends over at GQ Jewelers for lending this watch into the channel. If you guys are into watches, definitely go support them over on Instagram. They always have some really cool pieces coming through the shop. Now let's start with the sizing because I think Seiko absolutely nailed it here. The watch and bracelet are constructed of 316L stainless steel. The case measures in at 39.5 millimeters, is 13.6 millimeters thick with a lug-to-lug measurement of 47.9 millimeters. Now the weight does come in at 147 grams on the bracelet with the unsized bracelet, and honestly it feels really balanced on the wrist. On my 6 7/8 inch wrist, this thing works perfect, and that's important because Explorer 2 style watches can sometimes wear very large due to the fixed bezel and broader case proportions, but Seiko kept this one compact enough to still feel comfortable as an everyday piece. The proportions are just really well judged. You also get 100 meters of water resistance, which means it genuinely works as a Gata watch, a go anywhere, do anything kind of watch. The push and pull crown, although unsigned, is easy to operate, and overall the construction feels solid. When you pick this watch up, it doesn't feel cheap at all. It feels substantial and dependable. Now let's talk about the reason people are going to buy this watch. That dial. The wide texture dial on the Seiko SSK059 looks fantastic in person. Seiko really knows how to make affordable watches visually interesting, and this dial has a ton of depth once the light starts hitting it. I'm not a huge fan of the faux patina on the hands, especially because they don't match the color of the lume on the indices, but I do like the contrast of the hands against the white surface, and yes, the overall vibe absolutely gives off Explorer 2 Polar energy, especially with the fixed 24-hour bezel. But I'll actually give Seiko some credit here because this doesn't feel like a straight up copy. It still has that Seiko 5 Sports DNA. The dial has more text than I personally like, but somehow the watch still works visually because that layout feels balanced. It has personality, and honestly, once you remove the Rolex branding conversation from the equation, this watch stands really strong on its own. The lume is also pretty solid. Seiko's Lumibrite continues to be some of the best lume you can get at this price point. Is it perfect? No, but it's definitely usable and performs well enough for daily wear. One of the coolest things about this watch is the fact that you're getting a true automatic GMT complication with an in-house Seiko caliber at this price. Inside is a Seiko 4R34 movement. This is an office style GMT, meaning the GMT hand is independently adjustable instead of the local hour hand. So no, this isn't a flyer GMT like the Rolex Explorer 2, but honestly, most people buying this watch probably won't care. For tracking another time zone, travel schedules, family overseas, or just enjoying the complication itself, it works perfectly fine. And I'll actually say something controversial. In hand, the Seiko feels almost as nice as the Rolex. That sounds crazy to say considering the price difference, but Seiko did a really nice job with the tactile feel of this watch. Again, does it compete with the Rolex finishing and refinement overall? Of course not. But when you realize this watch costs roughly $450 while the Polar Explorer 2 costs around $8,000 to $9,000 on the secondary market, you really start asking yourself where the value sweet spot actually is. Now this watch isn't perfect. The biggest negative for me is definitely the crystal. I really wish Seiko would finally start offering sapphire crystals on more watches in this price range because Rolex just doesn't feel premium anymore in 2026, especially when microbrands are offering sapphire at similar or even lower price points. Another weak point is the bracelet clasp. The bracelet itself is fine, but the stamp clasp definitely reminds you that this is still an affordable watch. It works, but it doesn't feel refined. I would have loved to see a male clasp with some sort of on-the-fly adjustment because, well, that would elevate this watch significantly. Still, once the watch is actually on the wrist, these complaints start fading because the overall wearing experience is just so good. And honestly, the 20mm lug width means this thing will look amazing on a ton of different straps too. And I love that the case has drill lugs. Look, at the end of the day, I think Seiko absolutely understands this segment better than almost anybody else. This watch gives enthusiasts the Explorer 2 polar aesthetic, an automatic GMT movement, solid proportions, great lume, and dependable everyday usability for around $450. That's hard to beat. And honestly, if someone came to me asking for a Rolex Explorer 2 alternative under $500, this would probably be one of my first recommendations. No, it's not perfect, but it's honest, it's functional, it looks great, and most importantly, it's attainable. That's why Seiko continues to dominate in this category. Let me know down below in the comments, would you buy this over spending thousands more on a Rolex Explorer 2, or would you still save up for the real thing? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe because we are getting really close to 100,000 subscribers and I really appreciate every single one of you. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, be safe out there and stay humble.